Hi everyone, we are back again for yet another exciting episode of the Guys Connect. Like the name said, Guys Connect. The guys are back. They are connecting. So I'm happy to have the guys here back again on set. Yomski, you're welcome again. Vikadex,
Alpha guys.
and Michael Chibox. And of
Thanks
course,
for having me.
regular co-host PK is in the house.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Please, we like your feedback. We appreciate them. And we like your comment. Please remember to always drop your comment and give us feedback as much as possible to be able to engage with you even more. And for the men, please, let's connect. Now, today we are discussing something very interesting. Something that can, like a two sides of a coin or two edges of a sword that can go either way. You know, we live in a world where we have many men, even people generally who just live their life on the go. Let's see how it goes. People who just want to see life is not that hard. Let's see, let's play the rule of thumb. Sometimes even not the rule of thumb. Sometimes we just even want to just see how things, not just relationship in our lives. There is probably no lack of discipline, or there is, and there's too much of it and all that. So we're discussing boundaries. How far is too far? Boundaries. Boundaries could be in relationship, like I mentioned earlier. It could be in your work life. It could be even in your family and all that. So what are boundaries? Are boundaries necessary? Are boundaries things that could be good or could be bad? I'd like to hear the guys' thought on it as we connect. I don't know who wants to take a stab. Yoma, I like to push you this time again. I know you're wondering that wait till I do now, but don't worry. I'd like to hear your thought. Boundaries, what's your thought on it? Is it something that is essential? Is it something that is overflowed, or what's your general thought?
Okay, so I happen to, by virtue of profession, I happen to be in the real estate space.
Okay.
And imagine a house without walls.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't provide safety for you.
Okay.
Imagine a house with walls but without doors.
Okay.
It doesn't provide the necessary safety for you.
Okay.
I see boundaries to be the walls and the doors that allow certain things come in and go. There's some level of restriction,
Yeah.
right, that you can allow, to come in. So that's why I think about boundaries. That's what would allow, things to enter or prevent things from entering at will.
I see Vikadex is already
Awesome.
smiling. And I'm going to pick on him because I know him at least on this set. Whenever Vikadex is smiling or the eyes is squinting a bit, it's almost as if I think I have a different opinion. Am I right?
Yeah, so I'm glad that his analogy does not include burglary proof. Right? So I mean that's why I think we are cool. And in terms of boundaries, I think it should be those basic sensibilities that we all can agree on.
Yeah.
And then for me, I think beyond that, there's some sort of flexibility that can come from person to person based on things like your personality, your pursuit, and the environment you're in.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Chibox, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, picking from what Yoma said, that imagine a house without walls. And I was just thinking to myself, imagine a house with walls that are too close in.
Okay.
If you look at those houses in Lagos Island, in Lagos, if you know Lagos very well, those houses, you almost do not have fresh air coming
You
in.
can even pass something from your own window to the other person.
Do you understand? So when the walls too are too,
Yeah.
they shut you in.
Yeah.
Your world will be
And sometimes you need your walls to be a bit with space, but you still need walls. But how far, like the topic, how far is too far?
far, yeah.
How far should the wall be
Yeah.
closed in?
But there should be walls.
But there should be walls.
Okay, we all agree that there should be
But
walls.
boundaries can become prisons in some
Exactly.
cases.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If it's too,
I'd
can
like to
shut
hear
you
from
in.
PK.
All right, so boundaries are sets of principles that set the limit to how far you go on anything.
Okay.
Relationship, work, even rest. If you just keep going, you have a set of principles. You have agreed, this is how far we go. These are the limits for safety.
Yeah.
Because I like that word analogy. I'm going to come back to it again because there's a window aspect of it that I would like to bring out that occurred to me. Because no matter how much wall you build around yourself, create some windows that can allow you ventilate. We'll come back there.
Okay, I like that. I like the way you landed that. Because I think we all, except we're not being true to ourselves at different points in our lives, either when we're younger or even now. I've been through what I call peer pressure. Sometimes maybe you were raised in your family in a particular way, but maybe when you started work and or maybe by virtue of the kind of work you do, you may start venturing into some things that may not necessarily be part of some of the way you were raised or what the ethos or belief that you have, but because the kind of work you do may require that, and you unconsciously or consciously get entangled with other people, your peer, to to become or to do what you are not. So for me, I think, what role does discipline play in boundaries, setting boundaries, or even not setting, and also dealing with peer pressure? Because I believe peer pressure have a role in pulling down some of these walls we are making,
Yes.
unconsciously. So how does discipline, play a role in that? I don't know anybody can take a stab at that. You want Victor
People are not talking, right?
Okay.
So, okay, let me just take something quickly. Discipline, very important. I remember when I was cutting, and that's one of the things I'm very proud of. Not because I was so perfect, but each time I remember, I'm quite proud of myself. Not that I did everything 100% so well, but I'm happy. So my fiancée then, my wife now, was sick. So the mom was like, so from what that means in English language is that, of course, you see a beautiful girl at 25 and is just feverish and and she's going out with the guy. So like, come on, girl, come. Is there anything that you not want to? So, and the mom is a nurse. So the girl said, even if I want to, with who? Is it that one? Like this guy is very disciplined. I wasn't too that disciplined. It was just grace, right? But discipline, no doubt, is critical in setting our boundaries, because you'll be tempted. You will see things that you really like, that doing them, you are crossing some boundaries. When you cross the boundaries, it can harm you. Usually behind the fences are built for safety, and so behind those fences there are some snakes right there. I'm talking metaphorically, right? So if you go beyond it, something can bite you. So you need discipline now to restrain yourself, whatever spectrum.
Okay, Ayoma.
Okay, so I like self-discipline. So discipline might be broad. I like self-discipline.
Yeah, of course.
Before you get to learn self-discipline, you need the external discipline from parents. One of the things that when I was going to school that my mom told me, I think the university and all that, amongst every other advice my mom said, she said, Yoma, beware of girls.
Okay. I thought I was going to remember the song.
Know who you are.
No,
that's the standard template.
No. My mom said, Yoma, beware of girls. Girls can ruin your destiny. Girls, like she just said, there are many things. She just said, beware of girls.
So you just
and I carried it
Very good.
till date. What my late father said.
I'll tell my wife to tell my sons.
Yes. Right. What my late father said is, don't go to school and be a New Testament prodigal son. My father's money. You'll not put yourself down. You'll not be humble because you think your father have money. So if you get yourself into trouble, this chair that I'm sitting down, he used to tell my brothers, this chair I'm sitting down, I am not moving from there to go and bail anybody from. That itself sent chills to me to like, my father, he would not play. Let me just respect myself. So until a time where you'll be able to leverage self-discipline on yourself, you need an external force of discipline to guard your life, to restrain you, not because you're not free, right? I like the Statue of Liberty. It didn't say Statue of Freedom. Freedom is a state of no restraints. But liberty, you are free, but is within a confinement, within walls, within certain, would I say boundaries, so to say. So that's what I would say concerning, discipline, self-discipline, and boundaries.
I'm not a fan of the word discipline.
Okay.
For me, it has too many negative connotation.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the word they use when they want to punish you
Let's
in
see.
boarding house. And that's the word my father would use when he wants to, you know, this. Okay, I was going to the word when he's going to beat you as a child. But I think more importantly, this is bringing me to the question about nature versus nurture, and that takes you to peer pressure. I think for most of us, it's easy to bow to peer pressure when it's something you actually desire. When it's something that is not what you want, the peer pressure just sounds like noise. And that brings us to the fortitude of the will. And that is from like who you are, what you want. And that is what drives us. No matter the amount of external, you know, forces or discipline that is exerted upon you, there are some of us that my mom would say, I know you are sitting, you're listening to me, but what's in your mind that you will do? And it's again the thing with this is that in the context of boundaries, we are growing up in a place where society is no longer part of who we are. We have become individual, you know, police force for ourselves. We are the one determining where the line set, and that can be a problem because what's acceptable for one person is not really acceptable for another person, and we're finding it difficult to find what the common or the middle ground should be. I'll just pause here to take my order or takes later.
I'd like to. I don't know if anyone wants to add before I go on the subject of discipline. I get where it's coming from, and I think it's also valid. But I think it's also important that we find that balance because I drive and we all drive, and I ask myself the question: why do we have brakes? Why do we? For those who drive manual, I don't like manual cars, by the way. I put it out there. If you're going to give me a car, don't give me a manual car. So I want to say clutch and all that. So I think okay, I get where it's coming. That discipline can also take it too far and mold the person into a robot.
I don't agree.
No, I it's okay not to agree.
It's okay,
Let me just land my point.
Yes,
So
no,
I'm
it's
saying
okay.
that
But
I get,
how
but
you
it's also
interpret it.
important, however, that a life without self-discipline. That's why I like what you said earlier when you said self-discipline. Yeah, and also I agree with the part that before you get to self-discipline, there's some level of external force.
That's how life is.
Because when you give birth to a child and you leave the child to just live their life anyhow, you make a shipwreck of yourself. But you also where I also agree with you, also you also don't want to put it so much. Trust me, for somebody who was raised by a military man, you can't get it any higher than that in terms of a military man who is also a religious person. So you imagine combining that into. So when I tell people when it comes to discipline, I'm one of those people that had it the highest possible way, and I mean it with all sense of so much that even when your father bless his soul will go through your note. For every high you don't dot, you get discipline for it. So I can, but I'm saying that, but I also get that it also helps you if you get the other part of that coin, that you cannot live your life. Let's just see how it goes. And if you do that, because we don't want to do the first part, then you're also setting up that child or that person to be molded into whatever is able to pick per chance. So it becomes a version of what I want per chance.
I do agree with the ideologies and the reason for discipline. My problem is the word discipline itself.
Maybe because of your background. So there's a difference between discipline and punishment.
I agree, right? I'm just speaking like
no, it's okay. It's very okay. It's your reality.
That's what
nobody can
comes
take
to mind. Right?
Yes,
exactly.
Nobody can take it away
People
from
can
you.
misuse anything.
Exactly.
It's an abuse.
Even water, it can be abused.
Yes, if you hear a man to so many people or maybe girls is something that they rejoice at. A man to certain girls who have been abused and everything, it's repulsive, right? So I cannot come out to say because of my experience that men are bad or all men are bad or all men are cheats and all that. Then it means that I'm limited by. Have I met all men? Yeah. Imagine the number billions of men in the world because I have 3 or 4 instances with a man. Then the next thing I'll go into the fallacy of history of generalization.
I love you, so I'm going to lock you up in this house. You're not going anywhere 7 days a week.
So
can be misused.
So at the end of the day, I feel like that's why I wrote down, because what I do when I have discussions like this, to put things down so I don't lose my train of thought. I believe that boundaries are not a point that people get to. it's a journey. I feel that in trying to balance out life,
Yeah.
or what you see as boundaries,
Yeah.
there are things you saw as boundaries yesterday that you do not,
Yeah.
you do no longer see as
Yeah.
boundaries,
Yeah.
because we evolve basically
Yeah,
as humans. I was, like I said, I was on the social extreme before. I was a club boy. I used to club from Monday to Monday. My best friend owned the club, so I was just,
Free ticket.
you understand,
Yeah.
anything goes kind of life.
Yeah.
But then, thank God, I got to a point that, I found God and I started heading to the other extreme. And I got to the point where I went to the other extreme,
Yeah.
the spiritual extreme, where I became even
Yeah,
unreasonably
yeah,
spiritual.
Yeah.
Fanatic. So, along the line, I started to want to find the balance
Yeah.
of, so that's why I feel like even boundaries are a journey.
I like that statement. It's
Yeah.
actually a journey, and
Yeah.
that, and
It's a journey.
and that's where I also tend
Tilt.
to tilt towards now.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that it's a journey. In fact, sometimes some life experiences will play a part in how you tweak some
Yeah.
of those.
What you call
Some of
boundaries.
the- yeah,
What
what
you
you-
And that's why I like that window, and I said
Yeah.
I'm coming back to that
Yeah,
window.
please.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was the
that is
end.
a
Should I
good
take it
time.
now?
I think that is a good time.
Yes, now is a
to
good
get
time.
it.
Now is a good time.
All right, so when you have a wall and you have a door, I love that. You can go in, you can come out, and the door has a lock. So there's a way you go out, there's a way you go in.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have to create windows. That, I've set all these boundaries. Your life can become so micro. You become so paranoid that, this is all about me. This is how I treat my, for example, even in the marital situation, where it's just me, and I don't say hello to any other person. Even ladies in the office, I can't shake hands with them. I mean, there's some other religions that you have to. I make joke with them when I meet them. I have some of them who are my friends. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah.
But they're like, they are not allowed to shake hands with men. Right. So you can limit yourself by certain boundaries you set. You say, okay, this is just me. I'm not an outgoing person, because something happened to me 10 years ago. You'll be losing some opportunities.
Yeah.
So with boundaries, you can create certain windows that allow you to ventilate.
Yeah.
So of course, if in a marital situation, carry your spouse along. Or you see, because as a man, all right, so me, I'm a pastor, right? I cannot say, okay, because I'm that, and then I cannot relate with other people who are not my wives. And who, of course, in doing that, also, there has to be certain boundaries for safety.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've seen people lock up. They just lock up everywhere and everything because they are. But meanwhile, that boundary is informed by fear, phobia of what they have experienced, and other people are able to manage it and get greater results.
Yeah.
So you can limit your result by what you call a boundary. So we need to look at it, revisit it, and look at what is sacrosanct, what is essential, like we said earlier, and what is really not.
All right, that's very good, and I like that the window analogy, and it's very important. Still, before I move to the next conversation I'd like to have on this topic, please remember to leave your comments. We appreciate that. Leave your comments. We would like to hear from you, your thoughts on boundaries, discipline, the word or not, self-discipline, and of course, our words, how far is too far. Yeah, I know that's because the truth is that I always believe that everything, no matter how good they are, can also be abused. So we have a lot of young people, especially in this generation, who just live their life on the go. So it becomes, so that's why it's easier to jump on any trend. Something is trending now. I don't that I have any problem against with trends, but I just feel like sometimes it's not. No matter how trendy anything is, there's some trends I will never get on. Not because I'm being spiritual or not. It's just it has to make sense to me, and it has to be something that that aligns with my thoughts, aligns with my
Values.
and that leads me to the next question: what role does principles? We talked about discipline, principles, and values. Like I hear people say, you're too principled, you are too. What roles of principle and values have to play in setting or not setting boundaries?
Yeah, so I was having a conversation with someone over the week, and I said the decisions I'm making today, they are based on where I want to be in the future and the mistakes I've made in the past.
I like that.
The combination.
I like that. It's a
Right, so I am not just preparing myself from a future. I'm also paying the price for certain mistakes I've made in the past.
Yeah.
And that's what would inform the kind of boundaries I now set.
Yeah.
The kind of, decisions that I make. Now, coming to principles and values, I read somewhere that there are framework people, there are I'm a theory person. It means that you can't just tell me do A, B, C and give me all the steps. It doesn't make sense. I have to understand the reason why.
Yeah.
And I understand that people are different.
Yeah.
We have different personality. We have different tendencies. We have different thresholds. And because of that, how we interface with the outside world would be different. What we consider to be boundaries or acceptable for for each of us should be different, and we should respect that for other people.
Yeah.
So our principles and our understanding of ourselves, our values, now begin to shape what we begin to accept as acceptable. For example, I don't drink. I don't hate people that drink. It just does not make sense to me. And no matter how much you just like this thing, I don't drink not because I'm a Christian inherently. I don't drink because it just does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, so there are different people. I know what could be my own
Weakness.
my own weakness,
Yeah.
which, and if this thing props up, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not drinking.
Yeah.
And so my boundaries might not necessarily be around being around people that drink, but will be safeguarding myself around these other. So I might be stricter with myself in this area than in this area.
Okay.
And just to round this up, there are certain things that have become, expectations of where we are headed. That our principles are all revolving around who we want to be. And if you have a picture of who you want to be, there are certain expectations of that picture. And that helps you determine what can go and what cannot
That's
go.
Okay. Fantastic. You might want to say something?
Okay, so we're a product of our environment. A child growing up within Lagos, the principles on how they go about life is totally different from a child who grew up in Kano. They can be from the same parents, but because the environment differs, there's different, would I say, safety nets? Because I see principles as safety nets.
Yeah.
These are the confines.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, God put Adam in the garden and gave him trees that they should eat, but he still put a tree that you must not eat. Why did God not just remove that particular tree? So, if I want to make robots, let me just remove that.
So at least
But-
you're sure they eat only one
Yes,
kind of-
so you eat only, but even God recognizes the fact that, see, you can freely eat of all trees, but for, right? So principles are there to guard our lives. I know that it may differ from one environment to another,
And from people
but
to people.
from people to people, from experiences, right? But at the overriding, would I say, umbrella of it all, we must be mindful, right, on how the principles we set, because the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he would not depart from it.
Yeah.
It means that there are certain things that, even today, there are certain things that you cannot find yourself doing because of some of the inputs you've gotten from your parents, and they
Absolutely.
form part of your boundaries, your cultures, and that you are passing from one generation to another generation. So it's transferable, it's environment influenced, right? It varies from one person to another. So you cannot just say, oh, this is my principle, and everybody must, you must understand people's principles and where they are coming from so you can respect them. Thank you.
Fantastic. Chibox?
Yeah, I don't know if my thoughts are well articulated for the first time, but I just, what I wrote down is that I know that, principles are important, and I think they are informed from our various struggles. We all struggle differently.
Yeah.
And I've come to see that in the areas of our strength, we almost look down on other people that are struggling in those areas.
Yeah.
I was going to speak to
Yeah.
that.
So,
That's what I had to struggle with. I had to learn recently.
yeah. So we need to understand that we're all on different journeys.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a common goal, but we're all on different journeys. We need to help people understand where they are at and help them, on that journey that they're on to the ultimate goal. So I just basically feel that, understanding at the end of the day that it's all a journey.
Yeah.
And that, it's easier for others than others in some areas.
Yeah.
And once we accommodate that, it helps us. Even the principles we're talking about, it evolves. As we go on in life, you see that, okay, I check this principle. Is it really aligning with what I want to achieve?
Yeah.
Even with other people. Because what is journey without carrying other people along, really?
Yeah.
Think about it. If you were one doing right, and everybody around you is doing wrong, you almost feel like
an outlier.
yeah, one of the things that God has called us to do is to win the other guys too. So in being principled in working out your own life, have you factored in how to even help others achieve their own
influence?
Influence them
Alright.
into getting to where they should get to.
PK?
Very well. I like that so much. Paul said I became weak for others. I may save some. Do you know what it means to be weak? That means you could. But okay, he said to some I became strong. To some I became weak. Deliberately so to entertain,
Flexibility.
and flexibility. And a lot of people, you're a choleric person. Everything must be on point and in order. And this other guy is phlegmatic. All right,
It's too slow.
It's too slow. You'll be nauseated. You'll be angry. But then he's also a person on his own journey. So we have to make room in a way that help the person, so that at the end of the day we meet at a good place. Finally, I want to talk about social media boundaries because that's something now.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to believers now. You see, for the unbelievers or anybody struggling with maybe porn or all this other thing, that one is very clear cut and straightforward. Set boundaries. Anything that is a boundary, if you go beyond it, there are repercussions, whether now or later. But when it comes to even believers now, the way you scroll Instagram just to see everything and anything, sometimes 200 pictures, videos of people invading your space without you being intentional, has a way of draining you without knowing. When you are done, you will feel sad, you will feel zapped. All right. So if you want to help your emotional health as a person, please set boundaries. This is my principle. I counsel people on that. What you do is, what do I want to watch? Feel very free. Just go search for it. I think that's one of the things my friend told me. But this is why you started doing YouTube rather than DSTV. You know, so that you can make your choice, not what you are fed by. And you may feel, I need it. When you take it so much, you are going to have yourself depressed. All right, so boundaries.
I can relate with that very well, because it's something that I also advise people to do social media audits, because I've been a victim of being just unsolicited stuff, and unconsciously you see how these things start impacting even your own life unconsciously. From my hand, I think it's very important that principles are very, very good, and self-discipline is very, very important for us to be able to live a life that is in alignment to where we want to go. Except you don't know your purpose, you don't know your journey, then you can just live your life to chance. But if you know you're someone who has a picture of where you're going, there's some necessary boundaries, some necessary self-discipline. Like I think it was Mike Tyson that said that the commitment and disciplines it is your ability to do what you don't like doing, but you do it like you like it, because it's important to where you're going. So it's very important that we do that and we learn that, being able to be committed, being able to be disciplined, be able to be principled at what to do, and also knowing fully well that there are also, for every good thing, there is an extreme. You can get to that it becomes bad. And for me, for example, one of my principles, I have zero tolerance for lies, and I can even afford you steal from me. But when I can afford that. I hope you don't, but I can afford. But when because I it's something I grew up with. I believe that anyone who can lie conveniently, especially compulsively, can do anything to cover up that lie, because it's a secret. I'm just giving that as an example, and this has nothing to do with maybe my spiritual background alone. My spiritual doesn't support that, but it's just something I've learned to do. Thank you very much. Your final thoughts, if there's anything you want to say, final thoughts from you?
Final thoughts. You can't separate trust from boundaries or principles. I don't trust anybody that doesn't have any boundary. I can't trust you. I don't know what you're going to do. If I see a vicious dog, I can trust that dog can bite me, and I know how to guard myself. If I see a baby, I know a baby cannot hurt me, and I know how to. But somebody that I don't know what your boundaries, I don't know what you're capable of doing, then it means I cannot trust you. So there's a correlation between trust and to build trust, to be able to build trust, I know that you need boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, then I can't trust you.
Okay. I like that. That's interesting. Vikadex, final thought?
I just lost my train of thought. But number one, boundaries are not something you should use to excuse your bad character.
I like that.
Boundaries cannot just be set by society. It has to be in addition to the foundation or the walls and the windows that we usually, because of the context we're in Nigeria, you have to add burglary proof to your house. So in addition to what society has found acceptable, you now have to have tailored but reasonable boundaries.
Yeah.
Customized.
And lastly, when it comes to, breaking boundaries, we all have the inner check.
Yeah.
You have that reservation, you have that doubt. And so if you don't know what it means to set boundaries or what boundaries you should set, then that for those things that cross those borders that make you uneasy, those are things you should set boundaries on.
Thank you. Last word, 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll just say, don't let your boundaries fuel your spiritual pride. Yeah. So I know you have it all right, self-discipline, personal discipline, all the disciplines, but cut some slack for people that have had a different, experience from you.
Yeah.
I think that is what I would say.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we hear that today determines tomorrow, but for me, I like to say my tomorrow determines my today. That's what they were all talking about. That because of where I'm going, it sets my boundary for today. I like to counsel you, set boundaries on your work, boundary on your rest, both sides, boundary in relationships, boundary in expectations.
All right, from my hand, I think it's very simple, and it aligned with what you said. It's something I have to say recently. There's an exercise called the Poor Man's 360 evaluation, where I try to do it with a lot of my people, counselors, friends, and all that, to give me feedback of their experience of me, because I know they know me as somebody who's very disciplined and very principled. And one of the feedback I got was, yes, I like you because you're very principled, but I also like you to understand that some of us are not on the same journey you are, and give us that grace to we'll get there. We don't want to become that person, but we like who you are. We want to get there, but give us the grace to know that we are still on the journey. I think that's very important to what you're saying. That
I wanted to coin it as something I come up with. And it's prevalent in church a lot. We push people to show fruits of conformity instead of fruits of the spirit. So a lot of people, because we don't give enough grace, they conform to what you want to see.
But they are not actually transformed.
But they are not actually transformed from within.
That's very
So we should stop promoting the fruits of conformity and start to promote the fruit of the spirit.
Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
please, I want to add a last thought to that because it's my own personal experience.
Quickly.
I've had several issues in my life, and people are like, oh, put this in place, put this in place. I realize when I put it in place, it works. But there are some days my head just go nuts.
You just want to rebel.
And I remove if there is no that strong fortitude in my mind, that strong desire not to do this, I can remove all the boundaries, tear down all the walls, do whatever I want to do, then come back and start building the boundaries again.
Okay. So it's very important for our viewers know that, and I'm living this is very strong. When he said discipline, I like the way when he said self-discipline. And I was looking at the fruit of the spirit, and I wondered why self-discipline is one of it. For you to build any boundary, for you to build any commitment, any principle, anything that works, that helps your life to get to where you're supposed to do, you need self-discipline. Thank you very much, guys. We'd like to hear from you, your comments, your likes, your sharing of this. It was very, very important to us. Thank you very much, guys. Chibox, good
Thanks
to have
so
you.
much. Thanks so much.
PK,
Thank you.
and of course Vicadex, always a pleasure to have you. Thank
See
you.
you
And
around.
Yomex, Yoma himself, Yomski is here, and this is Seth here. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Hi, my name is Seth Ongwemi. People call me PS. I'm excited to let you know that this is an exciting new season for us at the Guys Connect. Join me and Kyle Brimo or PK as we bring new topics, exciting topics, men-centric topics that affect men and people around them. Join us and other guys, new faces and old faces, as we discuss this exciting topic. It's going to be a very, very good time where we'll hear on topic mental health issue, relationship, money, and many other that affect men, and not just men, issues that affect even people, the ladies in their life. Please remember to join us, the Guys Connect, on YouTube and also on Instagram. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from you. Like, share, subscribe, and please turn on your notifications as new episode drops so that you can be one of the first people to get them. Thank you very much. See you next time.